There are three muscles in the body that can cause a lot of problems when they get tight. And in today's video, I'm going to reveal what those muscles are and how to stretch them effectively. If you don't know who I am, my name is Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. Today we're going to be talking about the three most important stretches for people over the age of 50. Now I'm going to show you the stretches in just a moment, but I just wanted to let you know that these stretches are not suitable for everyone. Do get checked out before you give them a try just to make sure they're suitable for you. Avoid them if they cause you any pain and don't do them against the advice of your healthcare practitioner. Anyway, let's have a look at the exercises now. Now, the most important muscle to stretch, in my opinion, is the calf muscle. And your calves are made up actually of two different muscles. One of them is called the gastrocnemius, which is the bigger one, and the other one is called the soleus, which is slightly lower down, just underneath the gastrocnemius. So this is the gastrocnemius, this is the soleus. And the reason I think these are the most important muscle group to stretch is because they cause so many problems when they become tight. Tight calves can cause stress on the knee, they can make knee injuries more likely, they can aggravate arthritis which is already there, and they can also lead to a whole host of ankle and foot problems as well. Plantar fasciitis is a big one, Achilles tendinopathy or tendinitis is another big one. It can cause stress and tension all over the foot, which can make foot arthritis worse. The list goes on and on and on. And this is actually the #1 stretch I find myself recommending in the clinic, partly because it has such a high return on investment and also partly because it's so easy to do. So I'm going to show you it now. It's the calf stretch. You've seen me do this before in other videos, but I'm going to show you again. All you need is something to put two hands against. We're going to stretch the leg that goes at the back like this. This foot is going to go flat at the back with the heel down on the floor. The other foot is going to go in front in this kind of lunged position, and both feet are pointing parallel in the same direction. Now what we're going to do is keep our back leg nice and straight, and then we're going to bend that front knee, keeping the heel down at the back. My calves are really tight today because I trained them yesterday in the gym, so I'm really feeling this. So I'm going to hold this stretch for a nice 30-second hold. And something you can do that makes this more effective is push your toes down into the floor as if you're contracting your toes against the floor. You're pushing down as you stretch the calf. And what this is doing is it's adding a little bit of intention to the stretch, and it's also activating something called proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF for short. And this is actually going to make your stretches more effective over time if you can contract against them, as long as it's safe for you to do so. So hold that 30-second stretch. You can contract against it for 5 seconds and then relax. Keep doing that over and over again for a grand total of 30 seconds. And then once you've done that, you can move on to the other leg. So for this one, nothing changes. We put the other foot at the back. The other one comes to the forward. So the right's at the front, left's at the back. The left heel is down on the floor. We're going to bend that front knee, keeping the back one straight. That's really tight today. And then holding when we get that stretch for 30 seconds. We can also push down into the floor, as I said, which will just help us to stretch it just a little bit further. Hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Keep the stretch on. And then we can contract again, pushing down into the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relaxing. Keep doing that for 30 seconds. And coming back to this stretch a few times a day is the best way to do it. I recommend most people do this at least 3 or 4 times per day when they're getting started. And when you start to get into that position and you don't feel a stretch anymore, congratulations, you've achieved the goal. And you can do the stretch a lot less just to maintain it, but to get it there in the beginning takes quite a bit of work. So it's well worth the work up front to prevent all of those things that tight calves can cause. Before we go any further, I just want to tell you about 3-Tip Friday. 3-Tip Friday is my weekly email that I send out to my list, and it features 3 of the most interesting things I've found that week. It could be a health tip, it could be a piece of research I'm reading, or it could be a new tool that I've found to be really useful for helping people get more mobile. It's totally free. I just send it out once a week. There's no annoying promos inside, and you can sign up for it by going down below this video and entering your email in the 3-Tip Friday link. The next really important muscle group to stretch are your hip flexors. And they're a group of muscles that live at the front of your hip on both sides. And their job is to bring your knee up like this by pulling up on the femur. Now they're made up predominantly of 3 different muscles. You've got your iliacus, you've got your psoas major, and you've got your rectus femoris. Now the hip flexors attach to the front of the hip, and if they become tight, they can pull the pelvis into this kind of position, which we call an anterior pelvic tilt. Now this position can put a lot of stress on the lower back. So having tight hip flexors can lead to lower back pain. It's actually one of the leading causes. And many people have tight hip flexors because we spend a lot of our day sitting. And sitting is a hip flexion position, which means our hip flexors are short, they become tight over time, and then they start to pull on the pelvis. So stretching them, luckily, again, is quite easy. I'll show you my favorite hip flexor stretch. It's very easy to do. You just need to get your feet down like this so you can put one knee down on the floor. I've got my left knee down at the moment, so it's my left leg that's going to be stretched. We're going to start really tall because that brings our pelvis back into the right position and it brings our spine out of the equation. And then we're just going to contract the buttocks. Imagine you've got a pencil between your bum cheeks and you're trying to squeeze it. So contract the bum cheeks, roll the pelvis underneath you. So as if you've got a tail and you're trying to tuck it between your legs, and you should start to feel a stretch right here. And it should come all the way down the front of the leg. Now, if you feel it deep in your hip, that's probably your iliacus and your psoas, which are being tight and stretched. And if you feel it quite near the front of the leg and it goes right the way down, that's probably your rectus femoris, which is much closer to the surface, and it's also one of your quads. So if you feel the stretch coming down here, you've probably also got tight quads, so it would be worthwhile stretching those as well. So again, we're going to hold that contraction. So this is an active stretch. We're contracting the glutes, which means our hip flexors are having to switch off and they're lengthening as a result. We hold for 30 seconds with this good posture and then swap to the other side. Now, if you've got bad knees and you can't put your knees down on the floor, you could try doing it on a soft carpet. And if that's not enough, you can put a nice padded towel folded over a couple of times to cushion your knee as well. So I'm going to show you on the right side. So again, my right knee is down. I'm going to squeeze that pencil. Already I can feel the stretch. And then I'm just going to roll my pelvis underneath me whilst keeping a nice tall posture, squeezing the buttocks with intention. The more intention you put into a stretch, the more effective it's going to be. It's just like that with everything in life. The more intention that goes into it, the better the result. So if you can really pay attention to squeezing those glutes, really pay attention to tucking the pelvis underneath you, and really trying to find the position that gives you the most intense stretch at the front of the hip, you're going to do so much better than someone who just does this absent-mindedly. So hold that for 30 seconds, a couple of times on each side each day. You only need to do one at a time, but keep coming back to it if you found it was tight, and it's going to really help you with hip flexor tightness over time. There's one more muscle group that I think is incredibly important for everyone to stretch, but before I show you what it is, I just wanted to let you know that 88% of people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if that's you, scroll down, hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free, but then you'll be the first to hear about our videos when they come out. Anyway, let's have a look at this muscle group. And the muscle group we're talking about here are our shoulder lateral rotators. So our shoulder lateral rotators are a group of muscles that do this action here. They take the arm from here to here, or they take it from here to here. And if they become tight, they limit medial rotation, which is this. Medial rotation is also reaching behind your back, trying to reach for that bra strap if you happen to wear a bra, or if you're trying to put your hand through a coat and you're going back like this, you're trying to put your hand in the sleeve and you can't do it, that's also a lack of medial rotation. A lot of people have this problem, including myself. The reason I've got it is because of a past shoulder injury, but many people have it just over time. And if you get very, very tight lateral rotators and you can't medially rotate, that's been correlated with a higher risk of rotator cuff problems and other shoulder injuries. Not very nice, definitely things you want to avoid, and thankfully, there's a nice stretch to help you do that. So this is called the sleeper stretch. This isn't going to be suitable for everyone because it can be quite aggressive on the shoulder, but if you can tolerate it, it's a great thing to do regularly. So I'm going to show you how it works. You're going to lie on your side with the side to be stretched being the one on the bottom. And you're going to lie down like this with your arm in front of you like this. So I'm lying here resting on my shoulder, and this shoulder, the one to be stretched, all I'm going to do with my arm in front of me is keep the elbow at 90 degrees and just rotate the arm down as far as I feel comfortable. So the goal here really is, imagine you're trying to get your palm flat on the bed, and you're going to stop when you start to feel some tightness. So I feel the tightness here, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to take my other hand, I'm just going to put it on the top of my wrist like this, and very, very gently increase that stretch without letting my shoulder pop up towards my ear. I want to keep the shoulder down and relaxed, and then just rotate the arm down until I've intensified that stretch. Now we're going to add a little bit of PNF magic into this stretch to make it more effective. So what we're going to do, very gently, 20% of your effort, you're just going to push the top of your hand here into the bottom of this hand. So you're going to push up into the top hand. Hold for 5 or 6 seconds, only 20% effort, we're not trying to really strain it. And then relax the shoulder, and as we relax it, we're going to increase the stretch by just a couple of degrees. Then we're going to just allow our body to get used to it. So another 2 or 3 seconds in this position. Once it's used to it, we're going to push again. So I'm trying to do this action with my arm. So I'm pushing up into my hand. My hand is blocking the movement. My right hand here is blocking. Hold for 5 or 6 seconds and relax, and just again slightly increase the stretch. You can see here that my arm's going further and further towards the bed. And again, push up into the hand, contract, contract, contract. It's getting tighter and tighter now, but it's kind of a good stretch. It's an intense stretch, but it's good. Hold for 5 and relax. And do one more slight increase. Just relax the hand for a second and then bring the arm back. And that feels like quite an intense stretch, but after you've done it, the flexibility of your shoulder will almost be instantly improved. I can almost get my hand all the way down like that, and there's no way I would have been able to do that before I just did that stretch. So it's a really rapid way of improving your shoulder mobility. If you already have a rotator cuff problem, probably not a good idea because it can aggravate it. But if your shoulder is pretty good, but it's just stiff, this is a brilliant exercise for you. Again, try and do it a couple of times a day for the first couple of weeks. As it gets better, you can do it less and less just to maintain it, but doing it regularly to begin with is key. Hopefully that can improve your shoulder mobility and ward off many of the common shoulder problems too. So those are the 3 most important muscles to stretch, in my opinion, of course. I give these stretches out all the time for people over the age of 50, and many of them report less pain, better mobility, and improved function within just a few weeks. So if you give them a try, I hope they help. If you found it useful, do drop a comment below because I love to read your thoughts about my videos. And if you want to get more from me, you can pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find it on Amazon using the link below. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll speak to you on the next video.